call to order the Board of Education.
Hale.
Here.
Alvin. Here. Kessler. Here. Mandela.
Here.
Walker. Yeffing.
Here.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we open the floor for any public comments on our agenda items. Having no public comments, we move on to presentations this evening.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Walker, who is going to be presenting a summer camp update. So, Mr. Walker.
Well, thank you and good evening. This year we ran into a great challenge and obstacle, which turned out to be quite a benefit. We actually ran summer school on 2 different campuses. One at Fairhaven, headed by Ms. Seaman, and the other one at Munline High School, headed by Ms. Q. Both of those administrators did an outstanding job coordinating and leading the summer school programs, and I'm appreciative of that. I'd also like to, before we go to the data and look at it, make sure we acknowledge Munline High School, Dr. Kroll, Dr. Myers, and the staff there in the summer school. They were wonderful. They supported our students with every need. Mr. Hansen made sure that our technology was over there. It was seamless. We were able to feed students breakfast and lunch at their own choice. Many students went home with a sack lunch, thanks to Mr. Riley coordinating that, and Ms. Better was the person in charge of the food. So the breakdown, we ran grades pre-K through 2nd grade at Fairhaven and 3rd through 7th grade at Munline High School. The presentations over the summer included reading intervention with some math intervention. We also had Spanish culture camp, a STEAM program at the high school, grades 3 through 8, and we had summer band. And so when looking at our summer programs, we offer a nice mix of intervention, remediation, extension, and exploration. We just don't have some of the resources available to offer a full line of rich enrichment, where there's just an ultimate amount of choice, and it comes out of finances for the families. It becomes very hard to do. But we serviced 119 students in K through 7th grade. Extended school year was 39 students. Kickoff to kindergarten, 22. Spanish culture camp at 39. Summer STEAM, 18. As you can see in the charts, and I apologize for how small they are on the first report, so we do have the chart up here on the extended learning. The reading program, we've been using Time Warp Plus for several years. It's a scientifically validated research program. Before we even introduce Time Warp Plus, every year we offer professional learning and development trained by Voyager Sopris. They come and train our staff. Many of our staff, if they're new, they're all there. And if they are veteran with Time Warp Plus, it's a refresher and they benefit from it. So that they, when they attend, they're able to implement the program with fidelity. So the test, they take a pre and a post test for comprehension in reading. And the first chart is basically on the percentage, the average percentage for the cohort at that grade level. So you can see that each grade level, K through 7th grade, the growth was positive. We made positive growth in the percentage and in the scores. Yes.
The population captured.
Yes. Now, one of the things, I'll get to that in a minute if I may continue. The reading program at Time Warp Plus is an intervention program for the previous year. So if you just finished third grade, you're still taking the third grade intervention. You're not taking a fourth grade intervention. It's to catch you up and to prevent regression. So our goal was to prevent regression. We optimized this and had progression with student results based on their measures, the pre and post. So one of the things though, Ms. Yaffe brought up the students for the intervention 119. We run 2 sessions, the June / right before the 4th of July, and then the second session. The second session, we saw a little bit of a drop off in attendance because staff was on vacation, etc. But the data collected is of like students, so it's in there. So you see that the reading percentage growth is very positive. Some growth, a couple percentage points to quite a bit. It's a 3-hour program. We allow a 20-minute recess and a 30-minute math intervention program at Moby Max. So it's pretty intensive and it's very prescribed. The next, and then you see a chart, and it'll show you again the pre-post and growth. And I think it's nice when the orange is positive. So it looks very good. The reading score data, and this is all calculated directly by Voyager Sopris, just so that's clear. The teachers give the kids the assessments, the data is collected, it's in Vport, and then Vport exports this to us. And then you can see the scores, the average score of the test. And you can see that the scores the students make growth in their scores. So again, we're looking at an increase in preventive regression.
This is students who are identified as ones who benefit.
Correct. This is not an enrichment program. These are students who are identified beginning with MAP assessments and teacher validation.
So it looks very compelling to reduce the fall off and in fact, maybe provide a better baseline for them coming into the next year. Have we done everything we can to reduce barriers to students participating?
So if the way I can answer that is, I think, especially if it's financial, if the families received a fee waiver during the school year, the summer school fees were waived also. That was a part of the whole flyer that went out.
So there is a fee for this.
Typically, there are fees, but I would say the majority of students who are in this reading intervention aren't paying the fees. Most of the fees come for band or for STEM or for Spanish culture.
It seems that for a small number of students who might be the candidates for this and yet don't have fee waiver, can we size how much that is? Perhaps it's worth it for us and them to subsidize that for this particular program, for intervention.
Sure. And I think that's something we should discuss and we can discuss. I'd have to go back and do it to see if we have that record of it. But to take that into consideration as well as from a law kids. And so I want to say that a large majority of the students, the fees were waived. And we were very generous with, you're in the intervention, we're gonna let you go to band camp too. You know, and we work that out. It's just, you weren't gonna double dip on people.
Do we provide transportation?
Yes, transportation to, transportation from, breakfast and lunch.
And the benefit is breakfast and lunch is a reimbursable item. We're part of the single summer program, so we can claim those meals. Transportation, on the other hand, is not claimable, so we don't get any reimbursement.
To kind of continue on what Lisa's saying, how many kids are invited and then how many actually attend? So I see that it was 119 that attended, but how many were invited?
I don't have that number directly at this time. I can look back and look at the number of children who were initially identified through MAP data and then the teachers validate it. After we take the winter map scores, then that information is pulled from Alpine. This is the first year we did it this way because of the data warehouse. But we were able to kind of expedite it by pulling that data out of the Alpine system and identifying students who had not one indication, but at least 2 marks of meaning well below grade level. And then that was generated onto a spreadsheet shared with Mr. Preble, Dr. Fredericks, and their teachers. The teachers validated that, or they would say, oh, I add this child or something from what they saw in the classroom. And from there, we generated the letters that were given. So that's the process we done. I don't know how many were invited and how many showed up at this time, but it's something I probably, if I spend time into the spreadsheet, I should know for that.
Significant improvement. What is this caused by? Is it due to just extra time spent with them? That they need extra time? Is it a different approach to teaching them? Is it a combination? What is it that is allowing them to grow at such a significant rate once they're out of the traditional curriculum?
If I had that answer, definitely, I knew you'd be reading my book and thank you for coming to speak. I think, to be very honest, in my professional job, we've used Time Warp Plus now, I want to say 5 summers, and the data has always been positive. We haven't always seen the data, but it's been positive. My belief, my professional belief is we've limited the distractions, that it's reading for 3 hours. It is an intervention program, please keep in mind. So this doesn't mean they're at grade level. This just means they grew. We haven't regressed and slid. So I don't want to come in here with, we found a silver bullet and everything's wonderful. It's positive in the fact that the children are growing. They like the subject matter. The other thing is it's continued professional development, teaching it with fidelity, and a very prescribed program. And for some students who are in need of developing skills, that's what they need, where they're not able to participate in maybe more divergent thought processes or conversations, not because they don't have the aptitude, they haven't developed the skills to understand the content. So this is at their level and it's at a good pace. And I think that this is why it's a summer intervention program. This is not a program to adopt for our Dr. Jaraka to take to the teachers and start evaluating the curriculum. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to. So I like to say that it's good teachers who are dedicated, focused curriculum, professional development, and development, and time. And I want to say, I think it's a very positive thing that the board recognizes the need to provide summer schools, both enrichment and in intervention, that we were able to provide transportation, and that we were able to provide food. Because that's a huge thing for a lot of our population. It's very significant.
Hear your message that it's not a silver bullet and it's an intervention program. At the same time, it seems like such a no-brainer that we would try to expose as many children who could benefit from this as possible, and that the benefits are not only what we see represented here. Those kids are better prepared to go into the next grade than they would have been without the program. The teachers and the rest of the class can advance better, needing less intervention in the school year. So in that way, it just seems like it's worth the time and investment to reach as many kids as possible.
And I believe we are, and I agree with that statement, but I also believe we are trying to reach as many as we can. We just don't make it mandatory. That's, we have not had a discussion where there's an extended year that's mandatory. We encourage it, and parents for the most part are very supportive. But there are also other times to kids, family vacation, or they're involved in a lot of other things.
And do they enjoy it?
I believe the children do enjoy the summer program. They like the topics, it's ancient civilizations. They do hands-on things with it to develop background knowledge and understanding and word association. And they're reading very interesting content, and then their vocabulary improves as well. Because as you continue, you'll see in the pre and the post for the reading, you can see the scores, but then there's also one chart. I just noticed we didn't get on there, but it's called RCT. RCT is fluency, and it is on the first report to Dr. Shelby Postman on the PowerPoint. But the RCT fluency is very good with getting kids to start to develop their fluency, the rate at which they're reading, and that's because they start to understand the words more. The math score data, just to be brief with that, we really start in one area. We did third, fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, and some grade, and we're using MobiMax. We're using MobiMax primarily. It's a quick online resource, and we've used it for some intervention here. And we felt that in the summer it's perfect for 30 minutes, about 30 minutes a day that the children grow. And with this, the 0.1 or the 0.2, that's about 1 or 2 months of time or growth. And if you really look at it, they're in 30 minutes for 6 weeks. So you're going to make a 1 month or late flight, if you will. We didn't regress. That's the key. But I do want, as I pointed out to our administrators, again, the average scores, of the upper grades, these are children who need that intervention. So while we focus a lot on literacy, these are still students who they're in the literacy program for 3 hours. They got 30 minutes of that. They're struggling in both skill sets, is what I'm trying to say. So it's a very worthwhile program. I believe what we're doing, and thank the board for the opportunity to make sure that we're providing to each other. I'll answer any other questions if there are.
I just say it looks really well done. Kudos to you and the teachers and everyone that participated, because it's great to see that the kids that were involved really seemed to have been engaged and made a lot of progress, and definitely didn't slip off. So we definitely appreciate it.
I appreciate that, thank you. And if you've got to see the band concert, you can't measure it, but if you listen to it, it's amazing. 5 songs.
What, in like 5 days?
Yeah,
They had like 5 days to
in like
plan. That was
7
awesome.
practices. It was amazing.
That's
And
cool.
STEAM, they loved launching rockets, and they're in that science STEM area in Long Island High School. It was perfect. It was perfect. So
It was a great opportunity for them to be in that building.
yes.
And no troubles with transportation for the summer?
After some,
Thank you.
Yes, probably.
All right, our next presentation is me. Ms. Young and I had spoken a couple weeks ago, and I was letting her know that I was graduating from this program, and so she said it'd be nice if we could put together a summary, especially for the benefit of Mr. Hutman and Mr. Connell, who weren't here at the beginning when I started. So this is a summary of the AASA stands for the American Association of School Administrators. It's our national, actually international organization for all district administrators, mostly superintendents. But they put together a few years back a national superintendent certification program. So I came to the board about 2 years ago and asked them if it was something that I could apply to and they would support if I was able to get in. And overwhelmingly, they said yes. And so I wanted to just kind of put together It was an 18-month program. We went 16 times, I'll show you that on the next slide. But these topics were pretty much all related to national and international speakers coming in and creating modules of real-life examples, whether it was from their district or their own research. Mostly superintendents and some other practitioners, school-related practitioners, but kind of sharing their experiences of these areas. And the nice part was there was no textbook. It was all based on real-life, actual examples of authentic learning. So it was just really nice to participate in that. I've never done something like that before, so it's just a very valuable learning experience. And so a little bit of the details were, as I said, it was 16 sessions. So we started about 18 months ago in February, 4 days, and then summer, then back again in February at the national conference, and then our last session was this past July, so about 2 weeks ago, and then graduation. The nice part about this is there's ongoing network support and connections. So I had Dr. assigned to me at the very beginning. He's a retired superintendent from Arizona. So his experience coming here with 1,100 kids compared to what he went through with probably 111,000 kids was really different for me and his perspective. And for him to come here and see, especially because he lived in Chicago area, so it's nice for him to be back home. The cohort had 20 superintendents, and they were from representing all of those states. I didn't get Illinois because it was us, but representing all the states. It was really nice to see and hear and experience what their challenges and successes are in the states. And they're just amazed that we have 869 school districts. They have about 12, that range over like counties, larger areas. So it was really nice to work with them, as well as, like I said, mentioned earlier, just the teacher leaders and presenters that came were all from all over the world. So it's just really nice to hear their experiences and knowledge. And want to share with you. So upon graduating, there are 2 separate superintendents in Lake County that have graduated from this program. The other one is Michael Bell, who just recently accepted the Highland Park job. And there are 10 in Illinois. So they've had 3 cohorts, and so I was one of 4 that were from Illinois in this cohort. And hearing my story and then viewing my capstone. So at the end of it, you can see my capstone, a brief version of my capstone project. At the end of it, to graduate, we have to put together a capstone project. And so my capstone project was on our reorganization and climate and culture change that we've experienced these past 3 years. So they asked me to put together a teaching module based on culture and reorganization. So next year in Chicago, I'll be working this year to put that together. So it'd be great to add to that list that you saw. It's a fluid list, so it's what people are interested in and what's relevant to them. So that was one of the things that the professor asked me to kind of put something together. So I'm excited about that, representing District 76. And lastly, I have to. Eric, you were supposed to make it pretty. So here it is. Just a quick, I have to tell you, the TED Talk, the TED Talk at the end of the capstone project had to be, anywhere from 12 to 14 minutes. So we took, you didn't want to hear me for 12 minutes, so we took like a 3-minute, I captured 3 minutes of it, and Eric, Daisy, and I put this together. So ignore us if we laugh, because there's a lot of comedy that went into this. Thanks, Eric.
Happy summer, District 76 colleagues. Hope you're enjoying your time away from school with family and friends. I wanted to take this midsummer opportunity to share our reorganization journey. When I arrived, one of the first things we did was establish a district leadership transition team with reps from each building and each grade level. The PAC, or the Professional Advisory Council, was formed. We asked ourselves, what do we want to start? What do we want to start? What do we want to continue? And what are the strengths and areas of improvement for our district? It was clearly unanimous that it was the aging broken buildings, the disjointed teaching and learning standards, and the lack of trust and confidence that stuck out. No one cared, there was no opportunities to collaborate and participate, and no one was a part of the process. implement this vision, we needed money, we needed to strengthen our teamwork, we needed more resources and a shared plan where everyone could see and work together in the direction we were going. So we created a weekly website with updates, with current and relevant information of why we exist, for all students to learn and grow, for all teachers to learn and grow, and to develop and support the best teaching and learning methods. We consistently share that message over and over again. One critical component is the continuous cycle of reflection and improvement. We asked ourselves over and over again, how are we doing? Collectively, we came up with, we should consolidate and reorganize our buildings from 3 to 2, conserve resources and dollars from the operation and management, from utilities, insurance, and maintenance, and create 2 separate campuses, a pre-K through 2, and then 1 campus that operates as 2 schools, a 3 through 5 intermediate center, and a 6 through 8 middle school. The process I just reviewed is what all of you experienced these past 3 years. I walked us through our reorganization journey. 1, how we all work together to identify why we exist. 2, how we mobilize to get the community informed and support the referendum. 3, how we change the culture and climate to empower teachers and share ownership and leadership of the process and progress. Shine bright like a diamond. Fine light and beautiful sea. I choose.
No, this is good. This is what we were lacking. No less loud. There you go. Oh, there it is. And so I just want to thank you all, because without you as a Board of Education to support this, it wouldn't have happened. And I think your focus, inclusion, just continued professional development and lifelong learning and strengthening our distribution has really been proven and shown. Now,
We have our business agenda. The first thing on this agenda. We just have the resolution. Next up is the treasurer's report. And these several things are for action this evening. Right? So comments and questions on the treasurer's report?
and this is the treasure report that we installed from last meeting, or the table from last meeting. So if you have questions, and Mr. Rogers answered specifically in the numbers. Any questions further?
I thought the answers were very.
A little too detailed, probably.
No, I didn't understand the first one. I still didn't understand why there wasn't data.
Okay, perfect. So, I'm looking back to the June financial graphs, I think what you're referring to. So the reason why there's no graphs is it's really just we don't have the expenditures out of those funds. With working cash, we never have an expenditure out of those funds. You may transfer money out, that would be really the only expenditure. But we're constantly just building revenue, and we're just levying money in the working cash fund, and that serves another form of a savings account, if you will. So the reason why there's no bar graph, there's just no data. The last 3 years, we just didn't spend it.
Is that the only column that had data?
No, there was also fire safety. So fire and safety, they also refer to as life safety. Same thing, we've not spent any money over the last 3 years, and there's a reason for that. It's really that we've had some identified life safety projects from the previous architect, but judging by the most recent life safety report, I'll start. You can only spend money out of life safety fund for approved life safety projects. That's something the regional office, they have got a stamp off. You can only spend money out of that fund on those specifically approved projects. The list of projects that we have, in my opinion, really need to be updated. It's not really worthwhile money to spend. So we're working with our current architect on updating the legislative report on items that we would like to use, our fund balance for out of that fund. So we just have to spend it in the last 3 years. And without going into too much detail, the current life safety approved projects are really like, door closers, updating a couple of doors to be more fire rated in areas that really are important. It's kind of spending money on areas that aren't worthwhile, I think. So we'd rather use it to supplement the referendum projects that we're doing right now. So there are definite projects that are going to be left off that we think are classified. So that way we can get able to drop a big chunk of change, like $500,000 and approve life safety projects.
There was a question about why our expenses were not even 70%.
I'm sorry, I'm looking back at the memo. What part of it, why our expenses were not even 70%? And the reason being, again, that kind of goes to, I guess, a little bit of the skewed data that I budgeted more capital projects than we realistically spent. So that's budget to actual that we have right now. So I budgeted a lot more in the capital projects fund than we realistically were going to spend this year. And I know you had a question about that when we were the budget. Realistically, that's your amended budget. Say, hey, we're only going to spend $5 million instead of 8+ that I had budgeted. So if you go into the expenditure graph, that has a little bit more detailed where we're at budget to actual. Whereas capital projects, we only spent 11% of the budget. So that's skewed.
And does that include referendum funds?
Yes, that's all referendum funds.
Okay, that would explain.
So we spent $830,000 this year. As of the last bill we received, we're now getting bills right now that are $1 million+ that we're going to spend this current fiscal year.
Okay. Any other questions or comments about the treasurer's report? Items on the omnibus vote agenda are considered small. This is
Any pleasure.
items. Do we have a question? So, causing a little confusion here is the wording for the treasurer's report resolution has the omnibus vote agenda wording.
Will we remove it from the omnibus vote agenda, remember, because it's always under there, so we can just say.
Just acceptance of the,
Yeah.
of the treasurer's report. Okay, and this is different from
The treasurer's report of July 7th and July 7th.
My understanding is you guys approved the omnibus vote, but amended that item on there, so you just got to approve the.
Okay, so what we are talking about right now, I'm going to read the action from the omnibus vote agenda and specify item C, the acceptance of the treasurer's report from June 2018. That's what we're taking action on, correct? Got that, Michael? Okay. Items under the omnibus vote agenda are considered routine and/or non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. If anyone, board member, staff, administrator, or citizen wishes to have a separate vote on any items that item or items will look at the omnibus vote agenda and vote on separately. Be resolved, the Diamond Lakes 76 Board of Education accepts and approves the omnibus vote agenda item number C, or letter C, acceptance of treasurer's report of June 2018. May we have a motion to approve?
Hale,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Bordeaux, Outlet. Yes. Kessler, yes. Walker, Yaffe.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna back up. I zoomed by the omnibus vote agenda unintentionally here. But and I didn't, I'm sorry, so we're going back up to review resolution for omnibus code agenda. We're now talking about this month's action, it's not the treasurer's report, which was moved up from the last meeting. So, anyone else have any comments about the omnibus code agenda for this time around, including the combined meeting minutes from July 17th or the executive session meeting minutes from July 17th? I had a comment about the executive session meeting minutes for July 17th. The wording of this says we were under executive session for the purpose of personnel related items. It says discussion took place over superintendent contract, staff leave of absence requests, of staff updates, and department strategic plans. When in fact, personnel related things that are legitimate under the exception include those things that are specific personnel related. And the way it reads does not capture that. So when it says in department strategic plans, it sounds like we were not talking about personnel. So I just wanted to review this and have that changed to talk about the West Oak staff updates and take off the rest. And then have that be what we vote on next time. Understand? Agreed? Okay. Any other comments or questions from the omnibus vote agenda, including those July 17th meeting minutes for combined meeting executive session? Once, twice. All right, now let's move forward to the budget. This is the approval of the tentative budget and setting the hearing date. This is for action this evening, whereas Illinois School Code 105-517-1 directs the board to provide at least one public hearing prior to final action on the budget, and whereas notice of the public hearing must be published in the local newspaper at least 30 days prior to the time of the hearing, therefore be it resolved the Dominican District School Board of Education approves 2018-19 tentative budget as presented and sets September 18, 2018 at 7 p.m. as the date for public hearing on the 2018-19 budget. Comments and questions on this item? May we have a motion to approve?
Elton,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Bordeaux, Kessler, yes. Mandela,
Yes.
Walker, Yaffe.
Yes. Next item is personnel, again for action. The resolution is submitted for approval of the committee of the whole meeting on Tuesday, August 7, 2018. Be it resolved that the 76th Board of Education accepts and approves the personnel items as depicted on the agenda, which includes 6 new hires, 1 leave of absence, and 1 resignation. Comments and questions on these items? How close does this put us to full staff for the school year?
We have one more first hire last year.
That's it?
Yes.
Right, that's not something. It's really good for the 1st of August.
And a lunch club.
Right, isn't that, we're in better shape for the 1st of August than often? Terrific, okay. Any other questions? May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Kessler, yes. Mandela,
Yes.
Bordeaux, Dale,
Yes.
Elton,
Yes.
Walker, Yaffe.
Yes. That concludes our business agenda. Next up is board discussion.
So we included something in there that has Daisy here to comment. Maybe it's appropriate. We wanted to bring this to your attention to see if this was something that we could subscribe to, which is Press Plus, which basically updates electronically all school board policies and administrative procedures. And currently, I'm not doing so she would capture it. But click on the third attachment in your packet. This is what we currently do and what Daisy currently does. And this has been just past practice of what Jackie has done. And it's been basically manually putting in our policy updates. But if we subscribe to Press Plus, and both Eric and I discussed this, that we haven't been in a district that hasn't had it, so it's always been done electronically, and I didn't realize the manual work that Daisy's been doing to update our policies. So that you can see these are all the benefits that we need for $2,000 a year for a 20 year. We'll do this automatically, and then we'll just email us all the updates. So I'll have electronic copies. So you see what we get. Paper copies and then Daisy types in, changes on them, and types in what the updates are. So kind of pros and cons, and I don't know, Daisy, if you want to kind of, just really working with IS comments.
Yeah, and that's basically everything I've decided, it also does help with consistency because of that transition that we were with us now. I did have a policy consultant actually look through our policies that we have on our website, and she was consistency, and with footnotes and just the formatting, so it is something that she would recommend for us as well. And then when I do go for one of these staff meetings, I will let the other representatives us to call on IDPEPR should, any policy be for whatever reason, and just call on I just feel like it would catch us up. We did have all the time when I transitioned to this role. It's, and we do have to do everything manually, which is fine, but hearing everybody else, talk really good things about us, I kind of get right to my own position. Here's what I do now versus how they work with it. So yeah, we figured it would be something good for us to keep our policies up to date on our website as well as physical. I also did attach, when I did talk to that policy consultant, she did send me information about the benefits, which I attached it there so you guys can review it. I'd like to know who's subscribed to Plus on the costs of it and the benefits. And it does discuss also this the policy development service. We are going to have some about talk to some about it we look at now. Help with management of it is something that we are considering. The third thing is just what I do whenever we get those costs, but the practitioners and that I work with the person.
If you don't mind jumping in. So what we do is we have to subscribe, it's a consultant fee, which is a decent amount, but from what I understand, our current policy book is a paper binder, and what's in there is in there. No telling when the last policies were updated and whatnot. So they'll review all the current policies, see which ones we are lacking from, whatever updates are needed. We'll talk to us about potentially developing administrative procedures on top of policy, which is something I don't think we really do. Administrative procedures are really, they're more specific to the district. We can develop those as we see fit. But they'll walk us through all this, and they provide 8 hours of training and just more direction as far as what we should be adopting in the practice of adopting these policies.
So the policy consultant that came from the IOC.
Yes, well, I met her at, the Saturday group. We were talking about. Talking to her about it later.
But she is an IASD person.
Yes.
And she recommended the
Yeah,
service.
she's the director.
One of the things that you were mentioning, the administrative procedures, I know that they're not consistent enough to do with what we have. We'll mention our policies and they'll recommend it here for your side of the district, for example, like a food allergy policy. What are procedures that we're following with two separate campuses and different grade levels, and how cafeterias are set up, how gyms are set up, classrooms and stuff like that.
We can get questions from her and then I would look at it and see where the policy and hopefully we're receiving that on our AP. So that's something nice to have, something to have it be uniquely, better for our district.
Seems to me like, makes a lot of sense. My point of view. Managing these neighborhoods and helping them fight. And instead, if somebody who does this, they must invest their time, helping the district, helping the kids.
So my short on this board, go ahead and say, perhaps, updates, you do it, you as a board, go to accept them. And then it becomes part of the policy formation. So how, I'm not sure I want to, so this is automatic updates. Does, how do they cater that to our district? Something from the president's recommendation, we not approved it. When does it update automatically? When does it, is that where the consultant role comes in? They are customizing it to what we do.
Basically, yeah, right now, say that, since I have two years old, you guys have to know that everything they recommended. But I can use for certainly for like classrooms next year, and one numbers, and there is a new policy being created, and they want to pull most of the things. Just keeping track of that, but basically, make that specific for the district. And all that's like basic management, and then the other thing is what I can do, now this, yeah, it's adopted, it's agreed, and that. Who else can have that? Last issue, I think 60 policies that were, recommended by ISD.
Essentially, the board is supposed to be a policy. That's the method by which you're supposed to be. Press does a great job of organizing the policy information in line with all the different school code and keeping that documented. And when there are changes in the code, all of the detail and footnotes get updated. On occasion, once or twice a year, there will be a new policy because of the change in the environment, and they'll correct that. A good 95 to probably around 99% of our policy is just adopted from that. We have very few things that are specific just to us. As context here, for us to spend the time trying to repeat the changes they recommend, which are largely footnote in nature, is error prone and not high value. The cost is kind of steep though for that value. The 1545, probably worth it. I don't think that's really great, because you think all the time you do spend. All this minutia and reviewing it and checking it multiple times, to give us version and then put it on the website and make corrections, whatever. To me, that's like harder, and it's still error prone. So we have different price point sensitivity. But I do think there's value in not having you have to type content which is very detailed oriented and not a high value. I'm a little less inclined to think that we need additional administrative practice consulting. I'm not hearing, or nor do I see enough gap or need there. I think we paid $46.50, which is consulting about this on the right pages with all of our policies. That once we get on subscription, they will electronically send us all of our updates. If within those updates, we feel the distribution team receive know what the updated policies are, the additional administrative review received.
We decided to adopt a different policy than what they recommend. And do you want the manual just like,
Like the board adopted policy 123, following the change in update. She just sent it out.
okay. There's a line I'm looking at there for promotional material. It says for an annual fee of $17.95, annual subscription fee is $15.45. Which we do. So what I heard, Joy and I both said we thought that the time savings of trying to get that all transferred over to Sam would be John. So that was a bit. John, I'm sorry, here, getting into, but what did you think of the price?
The days is going to take out the, I'm assuming that the policy manual development, that's a long time. So I don't know how many hours it is in a year, but I think that process.
One of those things that are rather fun, but it's one of those things. Spend it, it's done, keep up with the maintenance.
Which days would
So one thing that's not central to the goals of the district. I think it's possible.
So the output of the consultation around administrative practices, is that something that we will see some sort of report on or summary of what kind of new administrative things that are adopted in order to be aligned with policy?
I think consultant provides a report of what we were in compliance with, what we need to update, and what she would recommend. So the answer is yes, report consultation.
That to me sounds like from time to time is a good mind behavior anyway. Okay.
Do you remember what we're talking about this? This is what, do you remember a policy audit?
I remember that,
Not to mention
no, but there was a time where, because everything's in a binder, and I can't remember if it was an audit from regional or state, but we were reviewing everything, and we found that our binders were outdated. And so they were all collected, reorganized, restructured, and then given back to us. And then they were outdated. So I can't remember when that was. Roger Process was superintendent when we had that. So it's been at least 7 years.
And when the district goes through its annual audits, whether it's from the regional office or financial audits, it's pretty much status quo that districts have Press Plus from our auditor's perspective. So they just go on, they get all the stuff they need, and they don't ask us these kind of questions. Whether they go into real hard copies and say, hey, show us if this last was adopted via your minutes and things like that. So
No, that's about keeping the manual up to date and shape. There's a whole other thing around compliance that are we doing what we say to do, which is what the audit would do, this audit would do. All right, any other questions? Sounds like in general, that's for the one-time administrative review and then the ongoing plus. Any other comments or questions on that? Okay, we had 2 FOIA requests fulfilled. Second one was an add-on.
And we completed it yesterday, so we're just adding after it's published.
Any comments or questions on those? Okay, notices and communications.
So, in front of you, you will see, a folder, the back to school folder that each family will be getting, will be separated by school. We just wanted to see, wanted you to see what the district information is, there'll be more school specific, items in there by their even done like stuff. And then in your packet, in your board packet, is the, 2 divisional dinners for the school year. You guys both of them will be emailed to, one's in October and one's in March. Yes. And, relatively close. This one's at Double Tree right here in Montline, and the other one's in Conda. So just like Daysdale for City Hall. And then,
Do we have any public comments? Having no public comments, go to others.
so, in your, also in your packet electronically is the Sun Professional Development summary that's Dr. Draft put together, sorry about that. So you can see all the classes that our staff participated in, and again, because we weren't able to host it here in our building, we have a nice partnership with the police department. And they gave us some spaces to use, and you can see an overview of each session, how many people were participating, and then we even had some of our own staff members lead that, which was really nice. So I just wanted to share that with you. You're nicely attended and very nicely organized, so thank you, Steve, team. And then also the joint annual conference, I don't know if you take a copy of it, also the registration. It's going down to the AAA conference this November. I think it's presenting on Saturday at 2 o'clock. So if you're going to sign up for that or going to attend the conference, just let me know. And then 2 pieces of information, just extra information. Tomorrow, our new staff orientation, some of together and all of us. And our district starting tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And then I hope some of you can make it all to the Institute Day for the district, which this will be on Tuesday, August 14th. And I'll send out the agenda and invite, have a couple people respond. So if you make it for luncheon, it's 12 to 1, and then our keynote speaker will be from 1 to 2:30. So you can stay for some part of that.
I had a question about the community closet. Is that happening this month as well? Are we open for business here in the building? Yeah. Actually, I just signed the documents, right? What's it called? Yes, are we even allowed to tonight? Presumably we are.
They had to walk through yesterday, and the regional office guy
We gotta go.
signed off on it. In theory, he's got a finalized performance, so yeah, everything's going well.
Just in time. All right, so we'll be here.
Might be separate entities, and Eric talked about that, and maybe doing this great thing. Figure it out.
So we had, everything's done? Enough? Enough?
You'll have to walk,
Yes, yeah, this is what you're on.
you'll have to walk to the bathroom and see all that, there's the finishing touches. They're there.
That's a lifetime. No, the toilets are flushing.
I just said, it's toilets don't flush out, but they should. They should.
Details.
Details.
That's excellent, and things look good there too.
I think we're good. Like I said, I think we've all reported, each report, and we're really pleased to have our
Right.
progress that we made. Yeah, and yeah, and our staff were able to come to the DOC to set up the rooms, so I think that was a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
Really happy about that. So, good to use the weekend to shop and clean up. To go on.
So it is.
So,
Okay.
Knock on wood.
Okay, open floor, any others? Others?
Yes, I have one. I sent Becca and Erica a note about this, and I don't know if you guys saw that Menards property on 60, which is our district, is finally out of bankruptcy. And some bank owns it now. So Meadowlands is talking about developing it. One of the things they're talking about is actually.
Residential.
They're talking about doing housing. So, and there've been a couple articles out there about it. Because they're touting, I guess, interested in housing because it would be in Stevenson, they feel like that's a hot area for people to move into, if they would get, people to purchase those homes. So, or row houses. So I just thought that was something that's interesting. I know that, Eric said that that's an keep an eye on. It's, we would like to see how that would continue. And tax base possibly, right? Well, that would be good for the tax base. Yes, if it's residential versus.
Yeah, and one of the points in the article was, I think they're all divided on their board as well, deciding what to do with it, but one of the things with putting in industrial complexes, in some aspect, is that'll increase the tax revenue. So,
Did you say the board?
they're board of trustees
But is that Mundelein, it's village? It's not owned.
for zoning purposes,
Yeah.
they still need to zone.
Okay, because it's. Okay, I
I
didn't know.
thought that's what the article said.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, because basically what happened was the bank that owns it, and it's the bank that I had never heard of, came to them and wanted clarification as to what that area was zoned for. And they specifically did talk about housing. And there was mention that it was potentially housing for, not good assisted living, but more of like a retirement type housing. And how that was, then the trustees were talking about, this type of housing should actually be for people with kids because of the school district, because there isn't really more housing being built, that would be zoned to that area. So it was very clear they haven't made up their mind at all, but I just had never in a million years thought that could potentially be housing.
Yeah, it's not a very good location, it seems like.
I'm not sure that like personally, I'm not sure that I understand how far back that goes, but I know that where that development on 45 is, where they're putting in the assisted living or nursing home, they are going to put an access road there that goes all the way to 60. So potentially there is more space there than you realize, or a way to configure it, so it's not like you're living in a strip mall.
But if it's densely, if it's zoned for multi-family housing in a dense population area, would that throw off our assumptions from a development perspective?
We would definitely have to update our rule. It's been, I think I responded in that memo, it's been 5 years, I believe, since we've got our last enrollment projection done. So, it's good for 10 years, but if we had something like that where because they've been debating whether they didn't want low-income housing. You know, they didn't exactly want strict industrial, it almost sounded like a mix, or single-family home, or whatever that can be. But if we had an idea of it was like a lot of housing and stuff like that, we'd like to do some updates.
Well, that's very timely, given that we're talking about reducing down to 2 buildings. Yeah. Nice to know. Okay, any others? All right, at this time, the board is going to adjourn into executive session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employer against the legal counsel for the district to determine its validity, and discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed, whether for purposes approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2. May we have a motion to adjourn into executive session?
Hale,
Yes.
Almond,
Yes.
Bordeaux. Castler, yes. Candela,
Yes.
Walker, Yaffe.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
You.